after you start working with Randy Orton, before we talk about Randy, you're an old school wrestling fan. Bob Orton Jr. has to be someone on your radar. What do you think of him? He was, even at the time, like the code words kind of came through that he was a good worker. Like they used the term technical wrestler back then.
Dude, he was the base, right? For who he was working with. He was the base for the match. He was the foundation for the match. He was the reason that he would put himself here and put the excitement around himself like that. And that's what a true heel does. And that's what a real heel does. An unselfish, true, real heel. They put themselves in the middle and they bring the excitement around them. And the excitement around them is that baby face. And you take the baby face and you accentuate his positives, and the negatives that he might have, you take them away. And that's what a lot of the heels, they get lost with that now, and they forget about that because they think to themselves, I got to get myself over. I got to make sure I get this move in, this spot in, this facial expression in. But that's not the case, man. We're here at, well, not me, because I'm a babyface now. Here we go. But as heels, your job is to make this baby face so he can, like I said last week, so he can draw the houses, he can draw the ratings, he can draw the buy rates for the pay-per-views, so he can all make money, because that's who the people are paying to see. They're not paying to see the antagonist, right? You go to see Superman movie, you pay to see Superman. You go to see Batman, you see Batman. You don't pay to see Joker, even though Joker has become his own, his own kind of baby face. But you pay to see those protagonists. And Arn told me, he said, my favorite tag team growing up was Dick Slater and Bob Orton. And he said, I didn't know why for a long time. And then he said, I realized that those two were taking the babyface team they were working with, and they were creating the excitement around them. They were making sure that the baby faces were bumping them around and making them, and they were making their baby faces look like they were world beaters. And that's what Bob was good at, man. If you could look up a match with him, there's a match with him and Tito Santana. I think it's from War to Settle the Score in about 1984, 85-ish. I can't remember the exact year. But that match is so incredible. And then there's a match with him and Ricky Steamboat. So beautiful, man. Because those two talents, those two baby faces, two of the greatest baby faces of all time, obviously. Yeah. Two of the greatest baby faces of all time. He makes them even better if you can. And Bob, man, I've actually worked a match with Bob. I've had a match with Bob. Yeah. Wow. Me, and I talked about him a few weeks ago. Best babyface of all time. Nobody knows about Charlie Dreamer against George South and Bob Orton Jr. and in Clayton, North Carolina. And he was still so good. This is about 2010. Still so good, man. Like his punches were on time. His timing was on time, and that's what a good heel is. Man, like knowing when to bring the fans down and then turn it on a dime and start bumping around like crazy for that baby face. He's just incredible. I still send Randy YouTube links of his dad to show him how good he was.
As a kid, I remember, of course, that superplex, which was this just crazy finishing move off the second rope. And also, being factored into the main event of WrestleMania 1, he obviously was a very big part of WWE. Big star. Also suffered the world's worst arm injuries.
That's a thing. Like, another thing. Like, 1 week, we're getting pile driven through a flaming table, and the next week we're okay. Oh man, come on, dude. Like, even though it really did hurt, I worked this ass injury for a good month, and Bob did the same thing with his arm. Like, it's, I don't know, it's a lost art in being a great heel. And if you're a heel and you want to differentiate yourself from everyone else today who's working, watch Bob Armstrong. Watch him, because what he would do this, I've talked about this with Tully and with Fit Finley and Dennis Condrey, but there's so much power in this, and him putting on the brakes. Right. This is so much power. And then when that baby face either slips on a banana peel or he shits that baby face out of a spot or something, and then he's an aggressor, and then he shows why he is a great wrestler and why he is a badass. But then that baby face makes the comeback, and then he starts bumping around and selling like a heel should, because there's a difference between selling like a heel and selling selling like a babyface. The babyface crumbles and begs for sympathy. The heel takes flat back bumps and gets right back up and is on his heels and falling backwards and taking ass bumps and things like that. And his eyes are wide and his mouth is gaped open and he's using his hands to beg off. Like, my God, man, he was fucking beautiful, dude.